Picks from Chub Thoughts.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because then we can leave everything up here.
Even the laptop you can't.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, that works. I can't with you.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Hello.
Welcome to Chub Thoughts. I'm Cristobal Piñon, or Chris Piñon. And we got Junie over there. And we have our special guest all the way from Florida, Miss Yadiel.
Hi guys! Yay!
Hi.
How are you guys?
We're
Oh,
doing
girl,
good.
I am doing wonderfully. How about you?
I am great. Thank you for inviting me
Oh
to
my
your
God.
studios in
Yeah.
Dallas.
Yes, these studios are real.
Really lovely.
We are on location in Dallas.
All the producers, photographers.
Yes, they're all doing their part
I can't
to
with these
make
all.
these shows
It's not really that
wonderful.
much. We're just starting. This is our second episode, season 1, episode 2. And we are excited to have Yadiel here in Dallas. So, Yadiel, what brings you here?
Sex and
Drugs.
I mean, please go. Please continue. I mean, you're right. We're right there.
I wish. No, I'm here to see you guys, to visit Dallas. We're gonna go to a concert soon.
I'm super excited.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I'm actually really excited about that.
Yes.
I don't know if I told you. I think I told you both of this, but let me tell the world. So, I have lived a very sheltered life. Very sheltered life.
Me too.
And I grew up quite poor.
Super.
So, I haven't really been to a lot of concerts.
Me neither.
I've been to one concert, and the one concert that I went to was for Christina Aguilera
Really?
when Stripped came out.
Wow.
Back in the
Wow.
Right.
like
That was
2000,
20 years, 25 years.
exactly.
Xtina.
Yeah, so that was my very first concert experience. She was my very first concert artist, and coincidentally, we're gonna go see her this Saturday. So she'll be my second concert experience.
Wow, nice.
20 years later, can you imagine?
Wow. We went to Mariah Carey too. Well, I mean, I don't
Right.
know if that
In
should
Las
count.
Vegas, we went to Mariah Carey, but I mean, it was not. It was like nice, like when
Okay, so nice. That's a different definition. Great, go ahead.
the interludes when they would play back from the. I mean, it was the best.
It was cute.
Yeah. That lip sync battle.
Ooh.
But what was it? Was it worth the money though?
I feel that it was worth the experience. The money was worth the experience.
For us that we grew up listening to her, it's like also going to see Britney. Like, even if she can't sing or whatever, I grew up listening to her. And I'm sorry to all the fans, but I mean,
You are going to cause a controversy.
Every homosexual watching this is going to revolt.
Right.
We
Everyone.
try not to be political
Right.
here, but we know that Christina Aguilera is the best of all time.
I mean, she's a great vocalist.
She's a great vocalist, a great tactician, vocal tactician.
She's the best.
I would argue that there are other better.
Don't make me ask you who, girl.
I mean, I didn't finish my thought. There are better performers, better entertainers. You like the water?
What is this?
The water this week is a little different from last week.
It's more pink.
Yeah, so this is from the mountains of Puerto Rico.
You said that last
No,
time.
those were the appellations. I'm sorry, I apologize. These are from the valleys of Puerto Rico.
The valleys.
Yes, these are collected.
We moved to the valleys.
Yes, we're in the valleys, and these are collected by the children of Puerto Rico, and they are cultivated in an isolated area, and very, very elite, very, very selective.
Elite.
Yes. It took me a lot of calls and a lot of favors I don't want to talk about to be able to get that here.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather a group of Puerto Ricans, like a conference.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask them if that is true.
Absolutely. You got one right here. As you can ask her.
I think that you have your information a little skewed. It's not.
Oh.
Is it really from there? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, anyway, can we get on with the show, please?
We can. Thank you.
All right, so Yadiel is here in town, and one of the things that I was wanting to talk about is the body positivity. That's the episode today. We thought Yadiel would be a perfect fit for it. But I did want to go through some steps, because back when I was a young chub, I wasn't as fabulous as I am today. Wait, I'm not fabulous. It's just there's a difference in when you feel beautiful and you believe it than when you're nervous and you're shy and you're insecure and not confident. And I was like that for many years. When I was in my 20s, I would think, I'm never going to be like these guys with abs or whatever, and if finding a boyfriend was going to be hard, so I have struggled a lot through that. It wasn't until I found the Chub Chaser community and through Bigger City, although we're not supposed to say names, but it's okay. It's our home, right, where we go, and where everything started pretty much for me. I was about 29 years old, and I went to the first Convergence, and I went in Chicago, which is where I met Junito. And that was, it's been, 6 years now? 7 years?
Oh, years.
And it's just changed my life. And I know that it changes people's lives. I want to keep that going. I want to keep the meetings and the Convergence, and there's a lot of bear runs. There's up and coming new ones. So I'm excited about that because it gives the opportunity for chubs to find their sexy, and that I found. And so I just wanted to talk about that with you guys. What do you guys think growing up? How did you feel with the whole, body positivity? Were you guys always this confident and fabulous?
Oh, how much time do we have?
It's okay. Take your time.
Well, growing up was really hard, and I think, I don't know, bullying now is a different thing, but back then, I was always the chubby guy. Not the biggest guy in the classroom, but I've always been chubby. And there was always bullies, I always had tits, and guys would make fun of, for me having tits.
Although some would like them.
Maybe low key, but...
Right, low key.
Right, but I think
I've got that a lot. Though.
Right. I think I struggled the most in middle school. That's when I started being conscious about my body. And I don't know, for some reason among my friends, there was this pressure of being skinny. I don't know why, but...
It's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, we're all
have to be skinny.
And those years we were all insecure about ourselves, pretty much. And so I struggled a lot in middle school with bullies. And then when I transitioned into high school, I started dieting, because my goal was to be skinny.
Right.
No matter what what venue, what route. I did diet pills, all the diet pills you can imagine. I'm not gonna name brands, but yeah, I struggled a lot. I even there was at some point that I was very insecure, and I will tape my tits with duct tape.
Really? Like to keep them down?
Yeah, to keep it as close to my chest as possible.
That's kind of like what lesbians do, don't they?
Yeah, some of them.
Well, that should be one of our episodes.
We should talk about that
on
a later episode.
Yeah. But I've known lesbians to take their tits.
Yeah, it's also a common practice for transgendered when they're transitioning from female to male.
So is it more of a transgender thing or lesbian?
I think it's more so anyone who identifies as a masculine person or personality type that they tend to want to eliminate as much effeminate qualities.
So even guys who want to be more masculine, they...
Right.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, to kind of encompass all of us. It's not necessarily just a lesbian thing or a transgender thing. It's anyone who wants to promote this more masculine body type.
Right.
They want to get rid of as much effeminate body parts or effeminate looking parts of them as
drag kings too.
Right.
For the art. For the art.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, but I struggle a lot. It was really, and now I'm in a better place, but... and I still struggle. I'm not gonna say that. Oh my God, I'm 100% confident with my body, and it's more. And now it's more of the proportions. I wish I could have more ass and that.
I think that's something that we all struggle with. I think for me specifically, my experience was similar to yours. Before middle school, everything seemed to be okay because we really didn't give a shit about our bodies or what we look like. But when you get into puberty is a wonderful, magical time, especially when you're 100 pounds overweight, because you are very familiar, very aware of how your body differs from everybody else. On top of that, you're not what the social norm is, and people remind you of it on a constant basis. So unfortunately, I was compounded with not only being the biggest kid in the room, but I was also the smelliest kid in the room. So it was a double whammy for me. It wasn't
so
until,
hygiene was a struggle for you?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily because I couldn't. It was just more so I didn't feel the need to. You know what I mean? And then it wasn't until I, hormones kicked in and I discovered, my first crush. And she blatantly told my entire class of 50 people, can you remove me from them? Because he smells really bad.
Wow.
Yeah, that was not cute. And, but yeah, so from that point on, I made it a point to make sure if I was going to still be the fat kid, I'm not going to be the smelly kid. And
I have to say, Junito is probably known. He smells so good all
I am known for how well I smell.
Right. You are now known
Yes.
for how well you smell.
Yeah,
I think that it's not that chubs are nasty or chubs smell bad. It's just we have to take extra precautions.
Yeah, we have to work harder.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's places that sweat more, there's more hidden places. So
Those
we got to
kind of
make
things.
sure that we take care of those things.
Absolutely.
But that's interesting.
Yeah.
So when did you guys feel like Yadiel was saying that he feels like he still struggles a little bit, but it's a lot better now? It's about proportions and finding his ideal figure, if you will. But what about you, Janico? When did you come? Are you more confident now? Are you?
I think with age comes more experience and more wisdom, right? But like Yadiel, I think a lot of us still struggle with the proportions of our body. I think, and this encompasses not only chubby guys, but just people in general. When we start looking at ourselves and scrutinizing ourselves in comparison to other people, we start to see, well, I wish I had bigger this or I had less that. And it's something that we all struggle with. I think, though, for a lot of us who identify in certain categories, certain labels, we always focus those comparisons to the things that we associate to that label, right? Like for a lot of bottoms, they wish they had bigger asses or they had more curves or they had thicker thighs or stuff like that. And for tops, they wish they were more well-endowed or they were more muscular and more strong-looking. So I think that all of us, we struggle with that. For me, specifically, I still struggle with just the aesthetic part of my body, you know what I mean? Because, I'm the older of the group and things tend to drop. And, yeah. So when those things drop, you gotta do stuff to make sure that you keep yourself in check. So yeah, I still struggle with that. But I think the really awesome thing about us collectively that we can all talk to and speak to highly is the fact that we went through those things, we went through those experiences, and we came out not only okay, but confident. You know what I mean? There's not very many of us in our community, very confident, very well-spoken, very outgoing individuals. And it's a testament to what time and experience and wisdom can give to us.
That's very cool. So I looked up, I found, I don't know if you guys ever seen this, but there's this website called success.com.
Okay.
And for all our viewers, we'll put the link in the description. But it's success.com, and there was an article that I bumped into, or ran into, or found, written by Lorraine Q. And Lorraine talks about a 7-step or 7 mental hacks that you can do to become more confident. And I thought, when I was looking at it, I was like, wow, that can really help the chub community. And like you said, everybody has insecurities. So even like chasers, I know a lot of people think chasers have to be these confident guys, but a lot of them struggle with being, the perfect chaser also, like being perfectly fit for their chub, and there's a lot of pressure for that too. And if you're not at that standard, that can cause a lot of insecurities as well. But getting through those, there's 7 mental hacks. We probably won't get through all of them, but I did want to try a few of them because there's a couple activities that I want to try with you guys and see if we have enough time to do them. But anyway, the first one is pushing through self-limiting beliefs. So there's a lot of times where we are born or raised with a certain belief. Yadiel talked about there was a lot of pressure for people who to be skinny, and that being fat was not really a good thing. Although you can make a lot of arguments as to why it may or may not be healthy, and I always encourage people to be as healthy as possible and to be proactive on your health. and to have that endurance and to exercise, even though you're a chub, you can do all those things. But the self-limiting beliefs doesn't really expose you to different situations and different thoughts. You stay almost in this cave, and you're in this zone. Have you guys ever experienced where that thought process or the beliefs is what limited you?
Oh yeah, I feel not now, but every now and then. I mean, I always sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe I'm not enough. Like I don't, maybe because I'm chub, I'm not gonna find somebody. That was my thought process at some point in my life. Right. That was and that kind of reclused me from meeting people.
And who would teach you this? Is this something that comes from the family? Does it come from society, from school?
I think it comes more from society back in Puerto Rico. I don't know how is it now, but when I was in college there, like if you would go to a club, there was always, you will always have, at least the gay culture at that time in the club is like, you have to be, dressed up and look good well, back then there was no Grinder, but the online right. But trying to dating guys online, they would be like, oh, you're cute, you look good, you look cute, but you're too fat. And
oh that, I used to get that all the time.
All the time.
AOL days.
And
AOL days. Girl,
you have a cute face, but you're too chub.
Always got that. You're cute, but you're handsome, but you're sexy, but like that.
I mean, there's a lot of profiles like on online dating. It says
no chubs, no fat, no fat.
Presently, yeah, there's such a negative stigma with, or I will say this to be more accurate. I think there's been a lot of positive movement because of body positivity to be able to eliminate that, but I think. I mean, we all grew up in a generation of people that dealt with a lot of that thing. In order for you to be considered a viable option, just to even talk to, you had to be like at the upper end of the group. So it was something that I think all of us, uniformly speaking, I think the really interesting thing amongst us specifically is that we're three completely different body types. You know what I mean? Like, we're all chubby, right?
Right.
But, I mean, we span the spectrum of what a chubby guy could be within our own community. And we all struggle with the exact same issues. We struggle with the same instances. We struggle with the same insecurities. And it just kind of is a testament to how society has influenced us, how our own culture, both Latino, both American, has influenced us. And more so what we ideally have wanted to be and what we've tried to strive to be, and that right. So it's I find it really fascinating for us to, even though we came from different parts, different regions of the country, different socioeconomical stances. I mean, we all struggle with the same things as far as body positivity.
So, Junito, just so our viewers can understand, what exactly is body positivity?
So, body positivity can be defined as the acceptance and appreciation of all human body types. So, essentially, it's a movement.
So, it's not geared to a specific body type.
Right. So, which is really interesting. Like, there's so much negative controversy to body positivity, but essentially, it's just the acceptance of all body types and promoting the positive outlook that someone should have about their own individual body image and accept that and others. The really interesting thing is that there's a lot of criticism to people who believe in body positivity that it's just an enabling of obesity or an enabling of unhealthy body image.
Or an excuse to be lazy.
Right, exactly. That people should strive to be healthier, and healthy equals thin. You know what I mean? But I think, we all know, me personally, myself, at my highest, I was in the upper 500s. And thankfully, I'm not now, but in no point of that time did I ever reach a critical health issue. You know what I mean? I've never been diabetic. I've never been hypertensive. I've never had congestive heart failure or even heart issues. I've been relatively healthy. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of us is something that we can all identify with is that we all feel fine. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't any really detrimental health issues, although there are people within our community who do struggle with that, who do struggle with health issues and do struggle with issues like that, and it is tied to their weight. You know what I mean? But I think what I would want to promote optimally would be understanding that body positivity is something that we can all believe in, but it's not something that you need to subscribe in in replacement of living a healthy life, because health and wellness should be your principal goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Be accepting of your family, of your body. Be accepting of who you are and the aesthetic that you carry, but also understand that your health and your wellness is important as well.
And make the changes that you want,
Absolutely.
and take your time with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But have fun with yourself. That you know, as you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Girl, you saw me. I was big as fuck.
Juanito,
Big. I was big.
we'll edit that.
Right.
Edit that out.
but seriously, like, I mean, from a personal sense, I mean, I was really big. I was like upwards of 500. And there was a point where I made a choice. I accepted my body, but I knew that I had to do better if I wanted to be here longer. You know what I mean? And that was it wasn't because I didn't want no chase to come down the street talking about, ooh, you fine. Like, I didn't want all that. I wanted to be able to say in 30 years' time, I was still going to be on this planet. I was still going to be able to see my nieces and nephews grow up and see, you know, our kids grow up and be able to impact positively people. So I put forth the effort to do what I needed to do to remain healthy. And if I lost a few pounds, wonderful. I mean, in a year and a half later, I've lost, you know, a pretty significant amount of weight, and I'm still doing it. So, but the point to that is just understanding that health is paramount, but be comfortable with who you are, and find that sexy, that inner sexy.
And to do that, the second step was never confuse memory with facts. So the reason for that, and remember, we're trying to build self-confidence. How many times have you, it's because our brain has like a built-in confirmation bias, right? If somebody tells you something, or they didn't choose you for the team, it's because I'm fat, or the boy didn't like me because I'm fat, or I'm too big. And so we already have that confirmation bias. So we have to remember that memory, we don't want to confuse that with actual facts. What happened? Right. Try to revisit. You know, Lorraine on Success.com encourages people to revisit the events of what happened. What happened with that guy? Did he really not want you on his team? Did he really not like you because you were chubby or fat or too fat? Or was it something? You have to try to be more accurate as to why they didn't want, because it could be a lot of factors, and we put ourselves down unnecessarily. And so if we can be more accurate, that's a lot of better. Also, what helps is getting other people's perspective that might have been there. Hey, we were at the club and I tried to dance with this guy. He totally rejected me, but I think it's because I'm fat. And get other people's perspective, and they'll be like, no, actually, he was dancing with some other chubby, you know, you may not be his type, or whatever the case is.
And I think it's really important to understand that response to your approaches doesn't equal to you necessarily. You know what I mean? Like, there could be a bunch of reasons that are impacting people's responses to you, but it's something that's usually our go-to is to respond, well, the reason why is because I'm too fat. And it's not the case. I mean, especially in Chub Chaser communities and in events and in outings, they're there to celebrate you. You know what I mean? So, and people need to remember that. You know, in a Chub Chaser event, they're there celebrating you. Right. So you need to walk in there like they're celebrating you. Right. And if they don't like you, it's okay. You know what I mean? And there's more where that came from. I think a lot of us struggle with that understanding that we're here as a celebrated part of our community. There are people out there who spend their lives trying to find people like us. And vice versa. You know, we want to find someone that will ideally want someone like us as well. And that we need to understand that and need to accept that we are beautiful within our own right. And that we need to strive for that acceptance. So,
real quick, just I want to get your guys' perspective for our viewers, those who are wanting to know, what type of guys do you guys like? What are you practicing?
Ooh, where do we start?
Girl, do we have time, girl? Do we have time?
What is your ideal? And we're talking about body specifically.
Okay, body types. Okay.
In the past, I was more attractive like muscle, but now I like a little beef. You know, like a football player. You know, I don't want you to be skinny. I don't want you to be chub. I want you to be, have a little meat, but like beef, like.
And that's ideally. It's not that you wouldn't.
Right.
You would reject somebody who.
Of course, yeah.
That's really cool. So more like a cub range, a muscular cub.
Right. Yeah. And
stocky.
If he can be tall, even better. But I'm 6.
Oh wait, taller
I'm
than
6
what?
foot tall.
taller than 6 feet?
No, it could be around my height, but I've dated guys, 5'6", 5'7". That's fine.
Sometimes those are the funnest.
Yeah,
So.
and I must say.
I mean, I've been told.
Right. Chiquito pero juguetón.
Right, talking from experience, yeah. I dated this 5'5", I think, Mexican guy, and it was really fun. I was very surprised.
It was fun.
That fun though, really fun.
Yeah. Oh, another thing that I forgot to mention. When I moved to the United States almost 8 years ago, because in Puerto Rico we didn't have this chub and chaser community. At least I didn't know of. So when I moved to the United States, I was still struggling with my body and stuff. And then when I moved to Florida, that I started going to these events like, I'm not going to mention names, but that I found out, that's when I found out about the chub and chaser community. I didn't know. And I was like, oh, really? So there's people that actually like this? And I was,
Not really like it, girl.
that opened many doors.
They love it. They live for it.
Yeah.
They live for all of it.
Oh,
Am I right?
And at the beginning, I felt kind of uncomfortable because in the way that a chaser will approach me and like he'll be like all over me, and I'm like, really? You like all this?
So you went from
You almost are skeptical.
And sabotage yourself. It's like he's all over me, and I'm like,
for such a long time. I used to look at guys look at me like, you find me cute?
you like my titties?
Something's wrong with you. Like something is definitely wrong with you.
the first time I went to a chub chaser event in Chicago, 2012. I was literally standing in line ready to register, and behind me pokes this chaser, and I look back and I'm like super nervous because he's like really hot, and he was just this guy that I never thought would hit me up, and he tried to spark. He's like asking me silly questions like, "Where's the registration line?" Even though I was in the later on, I come to find out that he was just trying to hit on me. So it was interesting. I was like, how can this hot guy be hitting on me? I can't.
Yeah.
You're right. There is skepticism there at first.
Oh yeah. The first time I got hit up by a chaser in person, I literally looked at